What is behind that door? Here's my review of 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Who's the one and only Malcolm?
I am.
For those of you out there who were going to see this movie thinking that it was going to be a Cloverfield sequel, you will be disappointed. Unfortunately, this isn't the movie for you. But I want you to go in with that mindset. Go in thinking that you're going to get a completely different movie than probably what you're expecting. Because even though your expectations don't meet your reality, the reality is this is an extremely good movie and it stands alone all in itself without even really needing the Cloverfield name. Although I do find it interesting that they are using the Cloverfield name, and I do have a theory about that I'll touch on later in the video. Part of the beauty of this movie that I recognize is the fact that you didn't really know anything about this movie, even after the trailers came out, which no one even knew this movie was being even made until January when it was announced that it's coming out in March. So that's something that's very rare in this business, to find a movie that no one knows anything about. And that's fantastic to me, because when I went in, all I had were questions. I wanted to know, was John Goodman evil? Was he the monster that they're kind of talking about in the posters? What does she see when she goes outside? What is it? What makes her do the whole shocked face at the end of the trailer? I really wanted to know. And this marketing campaign was intense and amazing, and it drew me in from the very second I saw the first trailer. And hey, they do actually answer a lot of the questions that I had going into this movie, so that's a win for me, because some movies just leave cliffhangers open, and that just annoys the hell out of me. Now, if for some strange or magical reason, you've been living under a rock for the last 3 months and know nothing about this movie, and if that rock didn't have Wi-Fi, or by even some other crazy miracle, it did have Wi-Fi, but you have no computer, no laptop, or no real internet device of any kind, let me tell you the premise of 10 Cloverfield Lane. After surviving a car accident, Michelle, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, wakes up to find herself in an underground bunker with 2 other guys. Howard, played by John Goodman, tells her there was a massive chemical attack up top that has rendered the air up top unbreathable, and their only hope of survival is to remain inside. But what do you do if you don't believe him? What do you do when you think the person that brought you there and saved your life is lying to you, and you think they're keeping you there against your will? That's the basic premise of at least 90% of the movie for 10 Cloverfield Lane. I honestly think that horror films can take a lot away from this movie on how to really scare an audience and keep them engaged with the story. What a lot of horror films fail to do is they rely way too much on jump scares, gore, and just the crazy background music that makes you kind of jump in your seat. Nothing on screen is really all that scary or terrifying, but they just try to force those scares out of you any way they can. But this movie plays out extremely different than a lot of those movies, because instead of music that you get in these scenes that's supposed to make you feel scared or jump, you get utter silence. And for me, that's scarier than any sound you can drum up in a movie. And that actually allows the acting to really shine in this movie, where scenes where music is supposed to tell you how you're supposed to feel, you actually have to discern that from the faces you're seeing on screen. And in a lot of cases, especially in the case of John Goodman, who does a phenomenal job in this movie, you can never really tell what he's thinking, and you're not supposed to. You don't know what he's thinking. Is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? You don't know, and that makes the scenes where he's maybe being a little more menacing all the scarier, because you don't know if he's going to jump at you and break your arm or try to kill you or hug you. You don't know, and that makes everything extremely stressful in this film. Seriously, if this movie hasn't piqued your interest by now, if you need a reason to go see it for John Goodman's performance. He does an amazing job in this film. There are times where he's meant to be sort of the bad guy. You know that from the trailers going in, but there are times when he's talking on screen where you don't know if he's going to kill the people. He's physically very menacing, for one. Compared to the other 2 characters in this movie, he's extremely large. He's very overpowering. You get the idea that he can pretty much snap you in 2 if he really wanted to.
Thank you.
But I distinctly remember times where I was sitting in the theater giving John Goodman's character the benefit of the doubt in spite of all the evidence staring me back in the face. That's how great his performance was. He makes it believable that he is probably a little crazy, but maybe misunderstood throughout most of this film. But what really makes this movie stand out for me is Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, Michelle. They could have easily wrote her just like any other horror movie out there, where she was very one-dimensional or two-dimensional. She wasn't extremely smart. She kept making bad decisions. Most horror movies go that way, where you're sitting in the theater and you're saying, oh my god, okay, don't go in there. Why are you going in there? Oh my god, I'm going to pull my hair out because you're being so stupid. Michelle's character really wasn't like that at all. She was actually extremely smart, and the biggest decision she had to make in this movie was whether or not to trust her gut, because she feels like something's up the entire movie, but she has times where she has doubts. She's got to work through those doubts, but she's extremely smart. She's able to fight for herself, and she gets herself out of some crazy situations in this movie. So I really like that it wasn't a standard horror genre film where the main character, the main lead, basically kind of lucks her way out of trouble, and she's just basically the main character, so she gets to live at the end because we need somebody to live at the end. I like that they made her smart. You actually root for her in this movie to succeed, and she does, which is awesome.
You know, it's incredibly tense.
Now, unfortunately, I can't comment on the ending too much because it will spoil the movie for you, but I will say that I feel like this will have fans divided, because you're either going to love the way they did the ending or hate the way they did the ending. But I will say that it sort of ties into my theory that I'm going to share with you in just a couple seconds here about what I think they're going to be doing with the 10 Cloverfield Lane movie, as well as the Cloverfield universe as a whole. I haven't really found anything that really confirms this on the internet at all, but what I think J.J. Abrams is hoping to accomplish is a sort of Twilight Zone meets H.P. Lovecraft sort of universe where you have all of these different versions of Cloverfield, all these different versions of Earth, where crazy stuff happens. They're all going to be individual stories, but something's going to happen to Earth in each and every one of these that's going to be insane and crazy and just really strange. But that's just my theory. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that these movies are going to be interlaced later on, sort of like how they did it with MCU with the first Iron Man, where originally Iron Man was sort of a standalone movie, but then they started combining the whole universe together? Or do you think that they're going to have these as completely separate individual movies where there's a new Cloverfield world that pops up and something weird happens in that movie? I think that'd be pretty interesting, personally, if it was the second way versus the first way. So there are my thoughts on 10 Cloverfield Lane. I was stressed out the whole time. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. And as usual, if you did like the video, remember to hit that like button. And, yeah, feel free to subscribe to our channel and go to my website at madmazreviews.com to get more of our amazing content. I look forward to seeing you next time.
Now, if you will excuse me, my plane leaves shortly.
You are going on a quest for knowledge?
No, I'm going to visit my mother in Miami.